Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. We had some serious technical difficulties this morning. We thought we would have them worked out. So good morning. My name is Lori Monaco from Align Yourself, Inc. I am a life coach specializing in transformation and mindfulness practice. I am a holistic practitioner and a speaker, and I am the Badass Buddha.
Buenos días, mi gente. Namaste. I am La Margarita coming to you from Drury, Tampa, Florida. I am a spiritual and creative healing life coach. And I am the Badass Buddha. So welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. Today's topic's going to be a great one, mi gente.
Yes, it is. Keep talking because I'm trying to get onto my
way. So today we have our guest, Efraim. Excuse me, I have the fan on and it's hitting my eye a certain way. And welcome. What a beautiful day, right? It's Thursday. It's prelude to the weekend. I'm sorry for all mi gente down in Bridgeport and Shelton that I know of that are without power. I send prayers and white energy that these people get it together at the UI and supply you all with some power, because what is life without your internet? Right?
Apparently. So I am in my car because we lost power Tuesday, 2:30 in the afternoon. And although we have a generator, it only powers half the house, and we did fine with our internet, but yesterday the internet went out and the cable, and that's been out since about 5 o'clock. And boy, to have children and no internet is very, very interesting. So, and I couldn't get a signal in my own house to be able to broadcast in my own house. So I had to park up the street. And yes, by the time we got started, and then I couldn't go live on my phone, Facebook. Oh, what a pain in the ass. So that's why we are here on Margaritas, which I'm sharing to the Dr. Lori Monaco one. And hopefully everybody will reach us, whatever. It's all good. It's all good.
That's the tenacity and perseverance, especially of entrepreneurs, that no matter how many obstacles come your way, you keep pushing forward. Because what is it? For every problem, there's a solution. Might not come right when you want it, but it's always there. So good morning, everybody.
And so I'm going to tell everybody that I cannot do shout outs because I can't keep going back and forth to the Facebook screen or else you won't see anything. So Margie will be in charge of shout outs, and I'll shout out to people afterwards. And Margie's right. You know, we always have to adapt, and we have to shift and flow. And even in times when it's very challenging, we have to just step up and make it happen, but also do it in a very calm way. You know, neither of us got really upset about it. I mean, worst case scenario is we didn't go live today, or maybe just she did and I didn't. But, you know, it is what it is. So that's the beauty of staying grounded and staying calm, which is one way to stay calm is masturbating. How about that, Margie?
Well, yeah, that is a great segue, huh? And so before we bring on our wonderful guest, what's in your cup? What's in your taza de café? Please, mi gente, don't forget to send a mugshot of your taza de café to either one of us, to Lori or myself. You can text it, messenger, send it through Facebook, but just send us your coffee, because your coffee mug, so we can post it and tally it up. And I am drinking today Bustelo. I haven't been to the grocery store, so I still have my Café Bustelo with my evaporated coconut milk. I'm loving that. So that's my taza de café. This very morning was a great love affair. The first sip I took because I was tired. I was very tired. And I am seeing that I think there has been People, I want to give a shout out to Diane Claudio.
Good morning,
Out
Diane.
to you, my beautiful woman. And Andrea Santiago, Colombia. ¿Cómo está, Andrea?
Hi, Andrea.
So I guess a lot of people are without and are not willing to drive down the street, such as yourself, to be online to get good coverage. But here we are. It's holding yourself accountable. It's being committed. You and I being the host of the show, we made a commitment to every Tuesday and Thursday, regardless. You got in your car extra early and you drove down the street. What better commitment than that? And to share that. So let's bring Efraim in, because this is a good subject. Is there anything else you would like to say, Badass Buddha?
No, I couldn't wait for this subject. So I'm glad we were able to get online today, because surprisingly, I think most people thought, like, when you put the title on there and say we're going to talk about masturbation, you know, there's a lot of directions that we can go with this. And I think that Margie and I knew we had the intention of going in a specific direction. And I think we were both pleasantly surprised to realize just how much we can go into that direction, which is not the direction I think most people would think. I mean, we could still talk about that, the pleasure element of masturbation, but there's a lot of really great information on masturbation in general. So we're gonna get Efraim on, and then we're gonna share that as well, but also, you know, get into the little fun-loving stuff about it. So
yes, because everything should be fun and loving. Okay. And here we bring on Efraim.
I hear people yelling for you in the background.
Nice picture.
Oh my God. There he is. Is he coming? It's taking its time. Did he get on? I didn't see him.
Yeah, he's there. He is. Good morning, buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Namaste.
Good morning. There we go. Oh, I see everybody now. I switched. Good morning, Efraim.
Good morning, my love. How are you?
I'm good. We lost power, so that's why we had a lot of technical difficulties. Plus, we have no internet, and so I had to like drive up the street. So we're all here now. How about you? You're sitting outside. Did you lose power?
Oh no, we did lose power, but I was just for a few hours, and it came back the same night, and I had to cancel my classes online. Couldn't do anything that night. So, but now it's all good. Everything went back to place.
Good.
I could hardly hear you.
You cannot? I thought it was so cool with this thing in my ears.
You're very low.
I am. Well, let's see if this stays connected. No, it is connected. It's supposed to be. Okay, how about now?
A little better, yes.
Yep.
I think it was my volume.
So, our conversation today, we prepared some notes because we wanted to bring up things about the conversation of masturbation that some people don't really, you know, understand, because most people think it's very taboo still to this day. And so do you want to start, Margie, or do you want me to start with some of these?
Go ahead.
This information? So this was interesting. So both of us did research on this. Usually it's just Margie, but I had the fun of having to research on masturbation. So 1713 is when masturbation was invented.
Damn,
so
invented.
So masturbation has been going on for years. I mean, you know, it's just very natural. So it's been thousands, you know, or whatever, hundreds of years. But it was invented because in the early part of the 18th century, they decided to create it as a disease. And when they did, they wanted to impart guilt, shame, and anxiety on those that did it. And a lot of people don't realize that in the mental facilities, that cereal, today that we eat cereal for breakfast, although I don't eat cereal for breakfast, but cereal was invented to stop people in mental institutions from masturbating.
Oh my goodness. So
some people don't realize
now that's a fun fact.
That's a fun fact, right? So how often do Americans masturbate? There was a study that was done a couple of years back, and about 12 times per month is the average. Men do it 2 times more than women. Not shocking about that. May is masturbation month. So we should have done this in May. So we'll have to do it next year. We'll celebrate masturbation again.
I'm writing that.
2018 study says that 55% of Americans do not talk about masturbation. 84% admit to masturbating. 92% of them are men. 76% are women. They say that over the last couple of years, though, or last few years, people's attitudes towards masturbation has changed, so it's more positive now. 59% of Americans say it's healthy. However, the French people say, the majority of the French people believe that masturbating is very healthy. 27% of Japanese say it's healthy. 14% in India think it's unhealthy. And this was very interesting. India is the most sexually satisfied country out of 18 nations polled for masturbation, orgasm, frequency of sex, and connection with partner. They must not have polled Brazil, because Brazil probably would have been the top one on that one, right, Efraim? And then
you are always outside in the sun. You know, the sun has some strange powers over us. Let's blame the sun.
And then so a lot of people don't know this, and this is one of the things that I brought up to Margie, because I never forgot this back in the 90s. So Dr. Joycelyn Elders, she was the Surgeon General. She was actually the first African-American female Surgeon General. She was under Bill Clinton. The irony behind this, by the way. She was in office for 1 year, 1993 and 1994. She was an incredible lady, very outspoken, very ahead of her time. She favored handing out condoms to public school children. She was nicknamed the Condom Queen as a result. Very against teen pregnancy, very pro-masturbation, and actually said that she encouraged teaching it in schools for sex education. And as a result of that piece, the masturbation piece, she got fired from her position as a Surgeon General, because she pissed off the conservative religious groups because of her outspokenness. And I think the irony about that is the fact that she wasn't allowed to talk about masturbation, but Bill Clinton was allowed to use a cigar on his intern in certain places that same time frame. So anyway,
I applaud Bill Clinton's creativity with the cigar. Okay, talk about my Clinton now.
Oh my God! What'd you say? Your clit or your Clinton? Okay. Okay. So what do you have to say, Marge? What's yours? Oh my God! All right. What do you got for us?
I got that rumors on masturbation were believed to lead to infertility and blindness. So that was one way to scare the people away from it. But they say that
a lot of blind people then.
Masturbation releases dopamine, which activates the pleasure center in your brain, and endorphins that actively decrease your perception of pain. For women, it actually reduces the pain of menstrual cramping. Plus, you'll get a surge of the hormone prolactin, which helps you fall asleep. For men in particular, it seems to benefit the most, with high ejaculation frequency correlating with the decreased risk of prostate cancer. So masturbation is good for that. Scientists aren't yet sure why, but maybe all that ejaculating is clearing more carcinogens out of the prostate. So masturbating actually helps you. But it says sex with a partner is better. Just be strategic about it. Do them both, but be strategic about it. Because, you know, like with anything, people become addicted to one thing more than the other, and because it's easier and safer, whatever the problem may be. I've met some people where I worked. They were a bit disabled, but they masturbated to the point where their stuff was raw. So I mean, you know, it's like with anything. Whether you drink liquor, you smoke pot, you go out, you go. Everything in moderation. but it's good for you.
Masturbate in moderation. Masturbate to prevent prostate cancer, but do it in moderation.
And to lessen the menstrual cramping for those. So, you know, normally when people are menstruating, they don't have intercourse. But so this is a way to release that.
That was good. Is that all? Is that it? You got any more?
No, that's it. That's all I got. I like the ending. Be strategic about it. Moderation
about it.
Sex 3 times a week, masturbate twice. I'm always for sex every day, but somehow people think, how about when people just schedule a date to have sex with their partner? It's like, that should be spontaneous and daily, either in the morning, meet me home for lunch, you know, before dinner, nightcap. I don't understand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the questions that we have, and so now we're going to start to bring in Efraim into this conversation. So why do we, and we don't have to answer all these, but these are some of the questions. Why do we masturbate? Do men and women differ in why they masturbate? We already talked about the taboos associated with it, but we could talk a little bit about more. Do you masturbate? How old were you when you first started? And the benefits of masturbation. So who wants to start? Who wants to start?
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if I missed this part, but did you guys mention that? Well, I came from a religion since I was a baby, right? So 13 of us went to church. We sang in choir. We all did what we learned from my mom, and based on her religion, and as I remember, also masturbating was a sin. Did you guys mention that?
No, we didn't.
We just said you'd go
so bad and wrong that you're not supposed to do. And I believe that more so for women. And guys, you know, always going to find a way to do it, whatever it is, even if they think it is, well, it's a sin. God's going to be looking at me. Well, so what? Let me just do it anyway. Women are in the sense, I think they were a little more concerned. So, but even though I grew up with this, there was no way we would learn about it. We would not touch each other, you know, ourselves. And well, I started this game of being sexual since I was very young, and I always loved it very much. And I'm turning 6 on Monday, and I'm still in love, literally.
Are you breaking up, or is it me on this end?
No, he's breaking up because
How old are you going to be this Monday?
56.
56.
I'm a very proud old young man. I'm a young old man. I used to be a young old man with pain and deep problems. Now I'm an old guy who's young. So I'm old.
Perfect. Which is perfect too, because next Thursday he's going to be our guest as well, and we're going to be talking about what is age. So it's actually going to be a fantastic conversation.
It is.
Definitely
I love that.
But so Margie, how old were you? You think? Do you remember how old you were when you first knew? And most of the time you don't know what you're doing until somebody puts the name to it. But you just know that that's what you were doing when you were younger. So do you have an age?
No, I because I was being molested from the age of 6 till about 14. So no, that wasn't a part of it. So I think after I engaged in my decision to have sex, I think it was shortly after that. So I would say about 16, 17, I started getting to know my body so that I could know what I was going to allow and accept into my life in that way, and to be totally in control of me, because I do have a high sex drive, and it has nothing to do with the molestation. Obviously I was a child, but it didn't rob me from my essence of it. So, you know, the first time I did have sex, intercourse, whatever, I reached orgasm that very first time. So in between not having it, yes, then that's where the masturbation came in. And that's where I learned about me. And that's why I can be a drill sergeant and overwhelming. And yeah.
I also don't remember like a time that I started, but I know it's like for kids in Brazil, it's talk about sex and imagine about sex and showing each other's magazine at the time. It was magazines like Playboy, whatever it is that would set our mind in place. I also don't remember when it started, but I know I was young. I know I was.
Well, boys are young. Boys are young because, you know, it's like there. It's like it sticks out. So it's like you can't not hold on to it. So
Yeah.
you see little boys like 3-4 years old holding on to that sucker, you know, and whether or not they're like actually getting pleasure from it, but I would imagine so, because the amount of receptors that we have in those regions, I'm going to get all sciencey now, the amount of like receptors that we have for sensation, they're very, there's a very large amount of them in those areas on both males and females. And so even just a little bit of touch sometimes can also even be uncomfortable for people. And sometimes I think that's where women get away from the idea of masturbating. So I was thinking about this, and right, I think women probably avoid masturbation for several reasons. One of them is, I think, is still that stigma to it, that it's not quite, yeah, it's not quite, well, and even beyond that, like masturbation is more of a guy thing, so that women aren't, you know, we're not supposed to do that kind of thing. The other thing is, I think women are not comfortable touching themselves down there. I think a lot of women still like feel that that's wrong, and they're not supposed to like that's not their job. It's supposed to be the job of their significant other, and which is totally wrong. I mean, you should always be very comfortable with your own body. And I think a lot of women don't know how to get off. I think that's the other thing, is I think they start to do it and they don't know what they're doing necessarily. So yeah, and while it might start when they're younger, I think girls get yelled at more than boys, right? Have you ever noticed that? Anybody? Like, I think like guys, it's like considered normal even as a little boy. But if a girl starts doing something like that, then
with her, yeah.
It is,
yes.
it is so true, because, you know, in my family there are lots of kids, and you see this a little boy playing with this little thing there. Everybody thinks funny. They even videotape. But if you see a little girl,
videotape.
There you go. She is in trouble. Oh no, my God! What if she likes this thing too much and started too young, and then all the ghosts of the problems that could probably arrive start right there from mom and daddy. And that fear doesn't come from the baby, from the girl. It comes from mom and daddy. What if, God forbid, she likes it too much and takes it to the next level? Like my friend right in front of me here, Marge.
Don't be talking about me. No, listen, I believe that. My little nephew, Mateo, he'll be taking a shower and he's like, look. And he just turned 3. And then he'll hold it, and he's like amazed by it. But I think it's an innate.
And that doesn't end for men, even in adulthood. They're still amazed by their penises. So that doesn't even, that's 3.
And it don't matter how we view them, because to them, they have the biggest one. And sometimes they don't, but they like to believe they're Mr. Mandingo. So sometimes you know?
I don't agree with that so much, because I don't live in a utopia world where I pretend to have what I don't. I know exactly. The difference between imagining a big or a small is whether you use it well or not. So
that's
I prefer
correct.
the use of it.
Some men still are. But I wanted to say, women do not realize the power that we possess, even when it comes to masturbation. I'll tell you.
I agree.
A man has his penis. It sits in his hand. He masturbates, right? Women have such a bunch of party favors to choose from. Like, where men just has that one way, a woman doesn't have to, it's real talk, right? A woman doesn't have to finger herself. A woman doesn't have to use a dildo. A woman does not necessarily need insertion for masturbation to reach an orgasm.
Right.
You can do it just through touch, over your clothes, the way you swerve your hips. I mean, our moments of pleasure in masturbating is so vast, and we should learn every single one.
So this is so beautiful. I think this conversation today, you know, I know a lot of people, I posted the fires and everybody, oh my God, you're going to talk about this online? So everybody has a little concern. But at the same time, I think it's an awesome conversation to be having nowadays. I think people are getting more aware of who they are, and people are looking to learning about themselves. And there is no better place to be than being free to speak about whatever that is for yourself. And I know it's like everybody knows this, yeah, but knowledge alone won't make any difference in your life. It does not create a better life because you know a lot. Unless you start practicing the things you know, you will always it's like a computer full of great stuff it goes very slow. So it doesn't have any use. So the matter is, I think this conversation today, it will touch someone deep down there. Where they are going to say, you know what? It's not only their heart. It's going to say, you know what? Today I heard something. Let me try. Because it goes back to many conversations that we had before. If a woman, or it's like you guys said, for a guy, it is no big deal. And we are accepted to do and know this since very early. But for a woman to know this stuff about themselves, it's such an empowering thing.
Yeah.
It's like you guys go back to saying, you got so much power. And the power is in your hands to create anything you want. And that is one way to do it. That's one simple way to do it. When you know, man, I can pleasure myself however I want. And it's not just one way. And when you discover this, now, let's go back to our conversation for many times, that when you have a partner, no, it is nobody's deal anymore to do it for you. You know what you want, you can ask for it. And if it doesn't, if the guy you love, well, for some reason he got too short on it and came long before you still can ask and say, no, babe, can you continue doing this for me? Because I want to get to where you got. So how can that happen if you don't know for yourself what it is and where it is, how fast, how slow, how deep, how whatever. So this is a great conversation that I know for sure the intention is to touch someone deeper so they can get it for themselves. Never blame anybody else for having done or not done for you.
Yes, and that's the biggest problem. And I think when I talk to people about this and they're like, oh, I said, listen, when you get a job, you go work for someone else and you take the time to learn everything there needs to know about your position so that you can have a job well done. So you go into someone's workplace, they tell you how they want things done, and you take the time and you learn it very well. You know, you learn how to drive, you learn all these, how to apply makeup, how to do everything, but you fail to learn what your body likes, what your body needs. You fail to learn your own body, the host that you live in. So, you know, it's so easy to learn this job and to learn how to change a tire in a car and change the battery. Well, what about to oil your engine every now and again? And we forget because we think, oh, no, I think that if you learn the many different ways, I'm speaking for women, Efraim, the many different ways to pleasure yourself, it's done, you feel good, and you move on. You don't have to waste money on all these products or whatever, because, you know, to learn myself, I know I'm magically orgasmic. So, and I say that with so much pride and conviction, because I can just be walking down the aisle of a grocery store, and depending how my thighs are rubbing, I'm having an orgasm as I'm walking down the coffee aisle. So it doesn't, because I took time to learn myself, because maybe it's because of what I went through. I wanted to have all the knowledge and the control of myself, so that no one can ever try to take anything from me that I'm not willing to give. And in the interim, I don't need you to satisfy me because I'm a complete woman. And so I tell people spiritually, as a spiritual life coach, learn yourself. Don't depend on anyone else to give you pleasure or to guide you down any way. Don't ask anyone, am I doing it right? Figure it out. Learn yourself. Masturbate. This is what this is about. This is all right. Then allow Lori, Efraim, and myself to say, you have permission to masturbate. Right?
Yeah.
Are you with me, guys? And I think if you need to come and hear this, then it's okay. Know that it is okay. Ephraim, as a man, is saying that he loves a woman who knows herself, especially in that sense, the sex sense. A woman who knows her body, who knows what her pleasures are, who knows how far you can go with her on certain items. And even if he wants to do something and the woman doesn't, but she knows what she wants, and she can say, I don't like that, but I can do this. That's still exciting in the bedroom or in the couch or on the back porch. It's still exciting because now he's gonna do something totally different than what he was thinking, but something's still gonna get done that's gonna bring both of you pleasure. So you should always have an exchange of, I don't know about this, but how about that? And it's still good. But how do you learn that? How, Ephraim? Lori, you masturbate. You get to know your body. People like, you're always touching yourself. These are my tits. I love them. I flash you with them. I'm going to massage and make sure that they're good because I love me and I touch me. And that's it, right? It's okay. Let me give a couple shout outs to my sister, Connie. Iritatan. My son-in-law, Dennis, Frank Pinero, Nancy Green.
Nancy, good morning.
Yes, buenos dias. Good morning, Luis Hernandez. Yes, so welcome.
And anybody who's watching on my channel, I can't reach my Facebook channel on my phone, so I can't do shout outs now. So we'll catch you later. But yes, actually, so Margie's absolutely right, and understand too, like, we're giving you permission because sometimes people request that and they might not verbally request it, but mentally that they don't want to try things because they don't think that they should on themselves. And we're telling you that it's okay to do this. Explore yourself. I mean, listen, don't do it at work, like don't say, well, Margie and Lori and Ephraim said to do this, and you're sitting, at work right now.
You can do it at work and get away with it. You take your phone.
I think so.
You put it on vibrator, and you put it between your thighs as you're sitting there, and then from your desk phone, you call yourself, and it'll zip, and it'll zip. I've had good times with that. Well, that's why I'm saying learn yourself, because how else would you know that you with your phone between your thighs and it buzzing, you're like, woo, and you're reaching orgasm. And nobody needs to know.
And the beautiful thing is it's everything's in your head, in your mind, anyway. So it doesn't matter who really you are. It's like you can be in the airplane. You go a little, those little, oh my God, that's freaking amazing. So you can imagine anything and do anytime, anywhere, I believe.
And too, what's interesting is that a lot of men and women think also differently about masturbation. Both agree that it's sexual, like it has a sexual connotation to it. But interestingly, guys will masturbate for a lot of reasons. It's not just about sexual. Sometimes it's because of stress, like they're stressed out, so they'll masturbate, they'll get off, and it calms them down. They'll do it to help them sleep. Women are not at all really in that headspace. I would say the vast majority of women still really mainly view it more towards a sexual thing. So that if they are comfortable doing it, they'll do it by themselves to get off. But it's always sexually based. But it's interesting because in the research that I was doing, it's talking about how many people feel better and they fall asleep better if they masturbate and get off. And so women out there, here's another consideration, is that, if you're very stressed out, women always, the last thing that we ever want to do is have sex when we're stressed. And guys often want to have sex when they're stressed because, again, they figured out very early that it's a good release for them. So women, consider that. Consider if you're feeling pretty stressed out, take a moment for yourself and try this and see if it helps you and relaxes you, because it is. All the chemicals that are being released are actually chemicals that will cause you to go into, you'll be excited for that one moment, and then it puts you down into what we call a parasympathetic response, like a rest and digest, like a relaxation response. And so consider doing it, even trying it for those reasons. Anybody agree with me on that? Or
I agree with you, and I'm going to agree with my mother that she told me since I was a child that I should have been born a man, because I didn't agree with those statistics you read off about a woman. I don't need to orgasm because I'm missing sex. I orgasm because sometimes I orgasm at midnight and then go make myself a cup of coffee to celebrate it. And then I take a shower and go to sleep. So yeah, I guess I should have been a man when it comes to that, because I don't see no problem in self-satisfaction. And I think that when I do come together with another sexual being, that it's going to be like the 4th of July fireworks, because it's going to be like, you know, why? Because they know who they are, and I know what I like about my body, what positions I like. I think masturbation can lead you into such a realm of pleasure. You know, it's such a realm of releases of dopamines and endorphins, and you're just in a whole different place after that. So Iris said that the older generation, Iris, we did talk about this when Efraim first came in. Yes, the older generation are closed-minded, though I'm sure they do it behind closed doors. They're just closed-minded to have the discussion. And yes, many religions, I think even today, will tell you that it's a sin to do that. But I think that, you know, no, I believe God wants us to learn who we are in our bodies. And you know, sex has been around since Adam and Eve. How could the religions say that God thinks it's a sin? Right?
Well, you just said that the people behind closed door. Yeah, people do behind closed door. And I believe that, this is again my opinion, that women are not so free. It's not because they don't do it. It's not, they are not so free to speak as freely as we are now saying. So if you were in a group of girls all together, and they were going to be talking, unless they know each other as sexual beings, they will. Otherwise, if they sit, they will pretend that they never do it, or they judge other people for doing it. But a guy, everybody knows, everybody does, and nobody cares. So, but the truth of the matter is, practicing this, whether you are stressed or you are not, is the greatest feeling of all feelings. The truth of the matter is, you don't do it for a long time. You stop missing it. And then it gets to a place where it doesn't matter anymore. So you don't do it. Whatever it is that you practice, you become good at it, right? We all know this. So, but if you pretend you don't like because you are judgmental, because you assess yourself or others about it, and you don't do it, and then husband comes home, why would you feel sexual if you don't even care for it? So the truth of the matter is, this is supposed to be done as a self-love. It's like, today I am going to have to clean my kitchen. But let me masturbate a little bit before I do that.
Yeah, and let me get that energy.
I'm going to go to work today. My boss is an asshole. But you know what? I'm going to come and fuck him. So, and you start creating possibilities in your life where you are the most important person in your life. There's no one more important than you. And that's practice. So you keep doing it, and now husband comes home. He's pissed, you are pissed, but you know, let's have sex and let's get it over with.
That's it.
But people don't see this with such an open mind, and this is the conversation for today. So people start practicing these things in their lives.
Yes, that's why I said the way you learn someone else's job, the way you go out and you learn all these other things, you know, it's really to no avail, because you're stuck with you all day long. So learn yourself. Pleasure yourself, so that then you can give pleasure and receive an abundance of pleasure. I love having sex when I'm stressed. I love having sex when I'm arguing, like in the middle of an argument. I'm mad at you. And it's like, oh, you do it, right? With so much ganas. Like
I love that, yes.
And I'm that person, Efraim and Lori. I'm that person that I'll be in the grocery store reading a book about infidelity or whatever, and I'll say out loud, that's because she didn't give him a blowjob or something. You know, and they're like, what? And I'll start talking about sex everywhere. You know why? Because there are so many closed-minded people, and I don't do it to be rude or what's that word, like just nasty. I don't do it for that. I do it because it's a fact of life. It's like you get up and brush your teeth. You do that with no problem, right? You learn yourself. All I'm saying is through masturbation, it helps your body. It releases what it needs to release. And in your joints, you feel more limber. You get to know yourself. When you're done, when I'm done, I sit down, I have my coffee, I put my feet up, and I was like, that was good.
No, listen.
Thank you, Margie.
As a guy, I have a lot of friends in my life who are married or be married. And the biggest excuse ever that one would say is, oh my God, I have such a headache today. And the headache being one of the reasons why not to have sex, when I think that if you had sex, you would have no headache. It
would go away. My son-in-law said, that's a good woman with a laughing face. Thank you, Henny.
So you would stop from having two headaches. One is your own, and not having your husband complaining and bitching because you want it.
Right. You know, here's the other piece too, is, and I want to really emphasize it. We had, you know, Margie had said it before, and Efraim did as well, is that it's really empowering, especially to women. You know, think about this, that I think it was, I had mentioned this before in another episode, where in the Netherlands, they had, I think they still do, but I'm not sure, I haven't looked up the statistic, but for a long time, they had the lowest teen pregnancy rate in the world, because in their schools, they taught in their sex education early on, as early as like grade school, they taught masturbation as part of their sex ed. Plus they taught sex ed very early. And a lot of the teens felt like, okay, you know, I don't have to be forced to find a date or be with somebody, because if I want to pleasure myself, I just pleasure myself. I don't have to go out and look for it. And I think that's where we see a lot of problems with American teens, in that they're, especially girls, that their self-esteem is a little bit on the lower side. And sometimes it's not even just self-esteem, but they're looking outward to find whatever it is that they're missing in their lives. And so they go out for that partner to provide them with the pleasure that they feel that they're supposed to be getting, because, you know, they're teens and sexual beings and all this stuff. But rather than saying, hey, you know, I could just do this myself. Like, I don't need somebody else. And then a lot of times too, women will not even speak up when it's not even done right. You know, like even after being with somebody, the person didn't even provide the satisfaction for the female, and they just turn around and won't say anything. I mean, they're not like Margie. Margie will say something, but they won't say anything. And then that'll be that. And they're just accepting of it. So again, it goes with the idea of getting to know yourself, knowing what you like, knowing what works, especially women, because women, we're always we take so much longer to do that than guys do. But it's empowering, you know, and it doesn't matter. Listen, if you've not been doing this for most of your life, so if you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s watching this and have never really done much of this, no better time to start, right? It's never too late. Just go for it, you know. Don't again, permission. You have the permission to do it.
Absolutely. You hit it right on. Efraim, what do you think about that? I think that people should masturbate with each other too, a couple.
Oh, I have a friend. I'm gonna tell you a joke that my student Robert, many years ago, he's a Canadian guy, very tough guy. Because on my title in my world of capoeira is master, right? So, and you know, when James Bond had a movie, he always introduced himself as, my name is James Bond, right? So my friend making fun of him, of me, he would say, Master Efraim is gonna say like this, my name is Bader, Master Bader. So, I like that. What's your name? My name is Bader, Master Bader. So the truth of the matter is, it is funny, and it is true. You have to allow yourself the space to know yourself. If you did not start when you were younger, there is no age. And we are going to talk about this next week. I am 56 years old, and I think the last 4 years of my life, things transformed in such an amazing way. So much so, the last 3 months, when I decided that this pandemic problem was not going to be a problem in my life. So I did all the things I was supposed to do in order not to be affected by anything outside of me. Like you said, Lori, it isn't from outside forces. Everything comes within us. And you loving yourself, learning to touch yourself, knowing what you want, it is the name of the game. That's all that is.
It absolutely is. Can I read some stuff before we go? You're absolutely right. Thank you, Stephanie Nieves. Mwah. Good morning, Priscilla. That's my cousin Preciosa. My Iris says that my aunt says that whatever you do in the bedroom stays in the bedroom, Dr. Ruth. I guess that you.
Yeah, not your bedroom, I see.
Oh my God, Dr. Ruth.
Sorry.
We're definitely aging ourselves.
And I would like to, Richie, thank you for coming in, Marina. Hola. So those are the shout outs I have. But absolutely, I think that the end before we close, and then anybody can add their 2 cents. I think that if you get to know yourself, there's no problem that has a solution. I think when you do release all that negative energy through masturbation, you think clearly, you defog your brain, you declutter, you can see things clearly, you can strategize better and organize certain things in your life. I think with that self-release comes clarity. And with clarity, you can start setting your day, you set your week, and you, why? Because it's also a belief system in yourself. Like I did that. I just now cleared my headache. I made my bones feel very limber. I feel good. I just had a good cup of coffee, like a man likes a sandwich after sex, right? I have coffee after masturbation. And then guess what? You sit down, you take your pen, you take your pad, and it's okay, let's get to work. What am I doing in the next 2 days? Because now you're good. There's a release. It's like that overhead, that cast, that gray cloud that's been following you, it's like bursted, and now you can see with clarity. So I think it's healthy. We'll end it. Masturbation for both men and women, in what I've read, is healthy. I'm not going to argue religion or the older generation. Those are their belief systems. I'm not here to convince anybody otherwise. I'm just saying, in my experience, as someone who's about to be 52 years old, I believe, and I also speak to teenagers about this all the time, that learn your body. And the way to learn your body in that sense is through masturbation. So masturbation. Any closing words?
So if we're better at like creating after masturbating, maybe that should be a requirement before any major meeting or consideration. So like all of Congress should masturbate right before they vote on a bill, right? And any meeting that you have in the this is meant to be funny, so you guys could laugh at any time. I'm not being serious.
I'm about to, because if that from your mouth to the Congress ears. Absolutely.
Could you imagine the scene? Because you know they show that on C-SPAN or whatever, and like all of a sudden they're not there, and then they all come in and everybody's all mellow. You know, like everybody's like, let's vote. Good, we got it. Let's go. No argument. Oh my God. No, Efraim, what do you have for last minute conversation?
It's like I already said it before. I think today was in all the meetings that you guys have been doing and all the conversations you are having, it is a breakthrough for a lot of people. I know for sure, even if they are not saying it, even they are not clicking on the Facebook saying, hey, I'm watching. I know there are a lot of people watching, either to judge, assess, but I know at the end of the day, they all got something out of it, because there are not women as free as you guys are being about yourselves, about your way of looking in life. And I know there are a lot of people that need this in their lives, that need this to be free. And today, you guys gave another opportunity for a lot of people to have this breakthrough happening in their lives. So I thank you on behalf of all men and women who are listening to this now.
And I just want to take that out. I'm a spiritual and creative life coach, and Lori is a
transformational and mindfulness practice,
And
life
both
coach.
work with helping you understand you and to navigate the waters of change for a better you. So
Yeah, so you can step into your greatness.
any guidance to reach your full potential, call us, inbox
Yep.
us.
Yep,
Okay.
we're available for individual and group coaching sessions. Both of us do that. So
And I'm
definitely, if you're
plug it because I believe we are great at what we do.
yes.
We're very open on every subject. There's no taboo on what we can talk about. Efraim brings out the best in some of these subjects. So we love having you on.
Thank
We
you.
do, Efraim, yes, because you're not afraid to talk about stuff either. And you're, you know, again, anybody who's ever watched any of the sexually based topics have realized that they're not specific. It's not the conversation which most people think are going to happen. So there's so much more to it, and you add to that. So we definitely appreciate you as well. So thank you for being bold and brave enough to talk about it as well.
I appreciate that. I know people think that we are what we do for a living. We are not. We are human beings. And if you're being happy, you will act accordingly. The universe have no choice but giving whatever it is that you want to create. Now, people are thinking, oh, I'm a master, I'm a doctor, therefore I have to pay attention to, no, I think you should be happy. And Margie, I gotta tell you, you kick ass in expressing that. And it's beautiful to see. So I am honored. So thank you for trusting me with this conversation all the time. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So next week, Tuesday's conversation, I may or may not be in Maine having this conversation. We'll see if we get my power back. I hope so too, because I need to get the hell out for a few days. But our Tuesday conversation is PMS versus menopause. So we get to have conversations about hormones, ladies, and what we struggle with and the challenges and all that lovely stuff. And then Thursday, Efraim will be back again after his birthday. So make sure if you reach out to him, wish him a happy birthday. It's Monday. And about what is age. So we're gonna so next week's conversation is going to be a lot of age-based stuff, and it's going to be again really empowering and powerful. So please don't miss it. And that's it. So
yes. So we'll be on with that because we're gonna have great conversation. So Lori, you're closing.
Thank you for coming on. And no, I just want to say, this is the Badass Buddha. And remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary. Have a great weekend.
You want to say any closing? You have a quote you want to give, Efraim? No?
Oh, Efraim?
No? Okay.
I love everybody who came in to listen to this. I love you, and it's a pleasure again to be with you guys. Thank you.
Okay, and me, thank you, mi gente, for joining in. See you on Tuesday. And remember, breathe in the beauty, breathe out the bullshit. Love yourself. Ciao.